Hello, my name is Julian. It's great to see you all. A very warm welcome, and it's great to get us all together. This will be a participative event. Get ready to do some work. I'm looking for some great ideas and thoughts from you all, but I just wanted to spend a bit of time reflecting on where we've been and what we've done. In terms of today, we've hashtagged the Leeds Way. So those of you that are adept tweeters are able to tweet, and you can share your observations. I think thinking about where we've come from, and perhaps starting with just a bit of a reflection, I just wanted to kick off the event with a little reminder to everyone about how we got here. It's been an eventful few months, to say the least, and I remember before I started in the job writing to you all to ask you what you thought our key priorities were and what our key challenges were, and I got a huge amount of feedback with a great deal of insight and a great deal actually of encouragement in terms of our journey. It gave me a sense straight away of the potential that we have collectively in Leeds Teaching Hospitals and the enormous amount of talent that we've got, both in the room, in the town hall today, but critically everywhere across the organisation, and all our colleagues that are working just up the road and across our 6 sites. And I've had so many thoughts, suggestions, ideas about how to take things forward. And when you all arrived this afternoon, you've been asked to give your thoughts about what's changed since I asked you those questions back in September, October of last year. And I've just got a few of the post-its that people have posted, which have been helpful. So let's start with a positive. Clear and regular communication. Feeling valued and listened to, feel like we matter, I know more about what is happening across the trust, there is an air of excitement, anticipation that we can do, never known everyone to feel so involved in 20 plus years. Great. However, let's not kid ourselves that we're there yet, because we've got an enormous amount of work to do, because not sure an awful lot has changed on the shop floor yet. Same issues and difficulties on the front line. So that poses us with a real challenge, doesn't it? Because we're all fired up and enthused about driving forward a really positive, dynamic culture that delivers great outcomes for patients. And there are a lot of leaders in the room today. And it's our job to make sure that on the front line, people feel the same, feel different, and feel able to ensure that the values and behaviours are filtering through at every level of the organisation. And when I look at the CQC report that we had, one of the themes that comes out of that is validation of the journey we're on in terms of creating the right values and culture and behaviours, but a recognition that it hasn't reached all parts yet, and you can make that happen. And we need to make that happen over the course of the year. Now, in developing the Leeds Way, we started this about 7 months ago. Many of us came together to develop how we do things in Leeds, and it kind of acquired the title, the Leeds Way. We heard from colleagues from across the organisation about how we can be the best and how we can achieve the very best for our patients. And the constant theme running through all of that was that in order to be successful, it depends on how we work together as a team. And it depends on how we ensure that we have the right culture and values and behaviours. And if we are to be the best in specialist and integrated care, as we've defined in our strategy, and meet the goals of being the best for patient safety, quality and experience, the best place to work, a centre for excellence for specialist services, research and education, and innovation, seamless integrated care across organisational boundaries, and, really important, financial sustainability. Then if we're to do all that, we've got to have clear values that unite us and that run through team leads, through the whole organisation. So the why are we doing this? We're doing it because the values, the culture, the behaviours are central and critical to delivering the absolute best for our patients. That's why we're doing it. And if any of you are any doubt about that, please think hard about the importance of all of what we do and the consequence of what we're about and the difference we can make to people's lives. And I've seen that, and it is amazing. But we have to communicate and develop that. So your job today is to take us further on that journey, is to start to think about how do we embed those 5 values and turn them into everyday behaviours and positive motivation and attitudes that happen at the front line. Because that's the key to unlocking transformation of the organisation and delivering great success and fundamentally the very, very best for our patients. So, thinking back to where we got to and where we've got to so far, around 500 staff joined us at Ellen Road to get the discussion started about what values we should have. It triggered some discussions on the day, but critically, it gave us a way of engaging with the other 14,500 staff in the trust. And this is where we started to use the Wayfinder platform, which was new, we hadn't used it before. And one of the challenges of our scale is our ability to reach out and communicate across the organisation. So we decided to use the technology and innovative software to engage with staff across the trust. And during that initial stage, 2,500 people engaged in the development of the Leeds Way, the values and vision. We got about 24,000 contributions in the form of ideas, comments, and we pulled all that together in January and turned that into the 5 clear values that everyone across the trust essentially developed themselves. And you're familiar with them, I know, but the way we develop our culture matters. The way we engage everyone in this matters. All of you have a job to do in engaging your teams in this. And we start with our opportunity to do that today. So, the organisation, you, your colleagues, told us the Leeds Way was about being patient-centred. It feels like a given at one level, but it doesn't happen all the time, and it needs constant reminders about what that actually means. And when we asked what does that mean, we got a number of responses. It means consistently delivering high-quality, safe care, organising ourselves around the patient and their carers and focusing on meeting their individual needs, acting with compassion, sensitivity and kindness towards patients, carers and relatives. Now, we're fortunate in Leeds to have the hashtag Hello My Name Is campaign, and Kate has been doing some astonishing work on this, and we've recently had the benefit of her direct input, a series of roadshows across the trust. And Kate will tell you it's the little things, the compassion and kindness that really make a difference at very scary and frightening times. And I was reminded of that just last night. I got an email last night. It's great. I love this when people send me emails of really, really good work that's going on. But I got an email from Sarah Harding, who's matron in digestive diseases. And Sarah sent me this email last night. Good evening, Julian. I've been completing the Compassion in Practice audit on J92 today. After speaking to one of the patients on the ward, I wanted to highlight the positive feedback they gave me about the team on J92. The staff on J92 have put an arm around the patient's shoulder when she's felt down. They've had time to talk and listen. The team have considered her holistic well-being and not her medical condition in isolation. A member of the nursing team took her clothes home to wash. She had no facilities to do this herself and a limited number of clothes. Cookies are the ladies. When the clothes were returned, there was a packet of cookies wrapped up in the middle. Cookies are the lady's favourite biscuit. A second member of the team brought in some nail varnish. The lady has always taken care of her appearance, and this has been a challenge over recent months. These small acts made her feel that people do care and life is worth living. The team are supporting her in getting home safely and with the right community input. And this lady said, this patient said, "I will never forget everything that you and your wonderful staff have done for me. Thank you again and again." Now, it's one example of many that colleagues regularly share. And I probably only see a fraction of the great work that goes on. And so, going back to Kate's campaign, the Hello, My Name Is campaign, already 2,500 people in the Trust have signed up and pledged. If you haven't done so, you can do it today. You can even get your photo taken so we can add it to the photo wall, which is really looking good. We've already got around 600 photos and it's growing by the day. There it is. We even got royal approval from Sophie, Countess of Wessex, on our recent visit. So it's tremendous. It's starting to get some real traction. And just another example, Linda and I recently met one of our porters, because the point about all of this is it's not just direct caregivers, it's every member of staff that has a role in being patient-centred. Matthew Jones is one of our porters, and he was singled out to me by his line manager following some really positive feedback from colleagues who saw how he behaved with a patient, transporting the patient across the site. And Matthew's only been with us 9 months, but he responded to the needs of that patient in a way that said it wasn't anything special, it's just what we do. And almost instinctively was being patient-centred, was living the Leeds way. So that's tremendous. So the second value that we set out was about being accountable. And it was really interesting to me that this came out from the feedback. You told us, everyone told us, the Leeds way was about being accountable. This means that we will act with integrity and always be true to our word, be honest with patients, colleagues and our communities at all times, disclose results and accept responsibility for our actions. And some of the examples of how accountability is starting to get embedded in the organisation includes the ward health check, where you will be familiar with this. On every ward, they highlight the many, many things that are important, including our staffing levels and whether they're appropriate, the occurrence of infections. And this makes us accountable not only to colleagues, but to our patients and the public. And these boards were commented on by the CQC in their recent inspection, example of good practice, and show our commitment to openness and transparency across everything we do. And that's really important in terms of how we demonstrate our accountability to each other and with our public and our patients. Now, the Leeds Way is also about fairness, about being fair. And what came back from everyone was that this meant we would treat patients how we'd wish to be treated. We strive to maintain the respect and dignity of each patient, being particularly attentive to the needs of vulnerable groups. But I also think this is about how we treat one another and how we're fair to one another as colleagues, and how we make sure that our employment practices and our ways of working are fair. We have a really good case study in our older people services, and the Trust Dementia Strategy Committee have developed the Know Who I Am document to help us understand more about our patients and ensure they're treated with dignity and respect whilst with us. We work with the patient and their family to complete the document and understand what they like to do, how we'd know if they were in pain, how we can support them and make them feel as comfortable as possible. This is then available for nursing and caring staff to reference when they're caring for the patient. To take it to the next level, the team's now looking to implement the Forget-Me-Not, which is a sign placed at the side of the patient's bed with theirs and the family's agreement that heightens our awareness to the vulnerability and ensures we respond to them appropriately. And it's currently being piloted in older people services and trauma and orthopaedics. So we are already responding and delivering fairness across a whole range of services and special groups. The Leeds Way is also about being empowered. It means we'll empower colleagues and patients to make decisions. We expect colleagues to help build and maintain staff satisfaction and morale. More can be achieved when people are happy and proud to come to work. and celebrate staff who innovate and who go the extra mile for patients and colleagues. I've been privileged to see so many great things, and we don't always celebrate them enough. We don't always get the good news out there about things that are happening, and we try to do more and more of that. So that's important in terms of recognition of the many, many excellent examples that happen across the Trust. Interestingly, in the A&E department, Haydar and his colleagues, in particular Stuart Nuttall, Andrew Davis and Jennifer Russell, have been innovating around the use of social media and the use of apps to help improve communications, training for trainees, information flow and patient care across the department. And by thinking differently to solve a problem, they've used Yammer, TED, ED, Vine and other apps such as CEM Books to communicate more effectively and to ensure they share information with their colleagues that perhaps they don't see every day. And these tools have helped the team work more efficiently and effectively and spend more time with patients. So I think there's a question for us about how we use this whole world of new media and ensure that we look at how we can best serve that in the interests of our patients and indeed one another. And good example in terms of how people are feeling empowered enough to do that. And we need to make that easy for people to innovate. And finally, the Leeds Way Collaborative. And this is fundamental. Healthcare is a team sport. We rely on one another. And you don't need me to tell you, because the evidence is really, really clear, that great teamwork in healthcare delivers better outcomes for patients. And through the Wayfinder, everyone said that collaborative is about recognising we're all one team with a common purpose. Include all relevant patients and staff in our discussions and decisions. Work in partnership with patients, families and other providers so that they feel in control of their health and care needs. And the CQC in their recent visit highlighted some really good practice. The geriatricians at St James, led by Dr. Eileen Burns, have worked with the Community Trust, local authority, GPs and the A&E department to try and help avoid unnecessary admissions in the elderly population. Elderly patients are seen early by a multidisciplinary team, led by a consultant geriatrician, which has significantly reduced the number of admissions. And they've also provided telephone advice to GPs via the primary care advice line. This has been acknowledged by the British Geriatric Society and the Health Service Journal. And it's a real example of how working together with colleagues across health and social care can make a massive difference to our patients and to the way we work. So, many other examples of that other than those I've highlighted, and I'm confident that we've got the talent and enthusiasm and ability to really drive and develop those examples set against each of the values of the Leeds Way.